नवयुग शिक्षण प्रसारक मंडळ चापोली, संजीवनी महाविद्यालय चापोली, affiliated by Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. Good morning, all the students of class BSc FY, subject Zoology, paper number 2nd. Name of the paper Biodiversity of Chordate, semester 1st, topic 1st. Today's topic is the ancestry of chordate or the vertebrate. Presented by myself, Dr. Thorat Mandakini Manohar, Assistant Professor and HOD of Zoology Department. Yes, the student, in the last period, we see the origin of chordate animals. In this period, we see the ancestry of chordate animal. There is generally different theories of invertebrate ancestry of the chordate. Different theories they are formed. How the ancestry of chordate is takes place. The generally theories of invertebrate ancestry of chordate. Several theories have been advanced to explain the origin of chordate either directly from some invertebrate group or through the intervention of some protochordate. Almost every invertebrate phylum, Coelenterate, Nematidia, Phoronida, Annelida, Arthropoda, and Echinodermata has been suggested. But these theories are far from being satisfactory and convincing and have only a historical value. Only the echinoderm theory has received some acceptance and shall be considered and evaluated under the deuterostome line of chordate ancestry. Generally, division of Bilateria. The greatest group of metazoan phylum Bilateria is divided into two major divisions, Protostomia and Deuterostomia. The basis of division is the basic difference in the embryonics and larval development. The division probably represents two main lines of evolution within the animal kingdom. Their main differences are summarized in the table. Generally, in the table, we see the basic difference between Protostomia and Deuterostomia. In this, that is first character, that is the cleavage. In the Protostomia, they to form spiral and determinates. In the Deuterostomia, they to form mostly radial and indeterminate. Second character is the blastophore. In the Protostomia, they to forms the mouth. In the Deuterostomia, they form the anus. Third character, mesoderm formation. In the Protostomia, by the cell cleavage between ectoderm and endoderm. And in the Deuterostomia, by the outpocketing from dorsolateral and endodermal wall of archenteron. Coelom formation. Next character is the coelom formation. In the Protostomia, schizozoally by split of mesoderm. In the Deuterostome, enterocoelous by the fusion of gut pouches except the vertebrate. Next character is the type of larva. In the Protostomia, they to form the trochophore larva. In the Deuterostomia, Tornaria or Bipinnaria larva except the vertebrate. Next character is the types of phosphogen. Phosphogen in the form Protostomia, they to form the arginine. In the Deuterostome, they to form creatine. Seventh character is the major phyla. They are included in the Protostomia is the Annelida, Mollusca and Arthropoda. And in the Deuterostomia, Echinodermata, Phogonophora, hemichordates and chordates. So generally, in the Deuterostome line of chordate evolution, a mere glance at the table showing the common feature of Deuterostomia suggests strong evidence of embryological and biological strong differences between some evidences of embryological and biochemical nature of a closer evolutionary relationship between the three principal deuterostome phyla Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. For example, first is the early cleavage of zygote are indeterminate, that is, each early blastomere is capable of developing into the whole adult if separated. Blastophore of gastrula form the anus, while the mouth is formed as a secondary opening. Pockets or fold arise from the endoderm of developing archenteron of the embryo. The fusion of space in the pocket form the coelom enterocoelus except in the vertebrates, and their wall become the mesoderm. The pelagic larvae of echinoderms and hemichordates bear the close structural resemblance. The vertebrates, however, do not have the floating larvae, having been lost in the course of evolution. Biochemically, all the deuterostomes use an identical phosphogen, the creatine, in the energy cycle of their muscular contraction. The phosphogen of invertebrate is the arginine. However, certain hemichordates as well as echinoids use both arginine phosphate as well as creatine phosphate. These facts are interpreted to show that the hemichordates are connecting link between chordates and the non-chordate. Sixth character is the serological test demonstrate that the proteins of the three deuterostome phyla are more closely related to one another than those of any other phyla. The precise relationship of the three deuterostome phyla remains unknown, but there is the little doubt that they share a common evolutionary history. Several workers have attempted to explain the deuterostome line of chordate evolution. Some of the proposals are as follows. First is the echinoderm ancestry. On the basis of anatomical, embryological, paleontological, biochemical, and serological evidences, various workers had tried to establish that the chordates probably had originated directly from the some primitive echinoderms or the some echinoderm larva. The hemichordate larva is strictly similar to the larva of Bipinnaria larva. Tornaria larva is similar to the Bipinnaria larva of echinoderms. It was in fact mistaken for an echinoderm when the first discovered. Both are the small, transparent, free swimming, bilaterally symmetrical. Both have the similar ciliated bands in the loops, a dorsal fore, a sensory cilia at the anterior end, and a complete digestive system of ventral mouth and posterior anus. This striking larval resemblance led the Jonas Muller and Wattenson to suggest a common ancestry for the echinoderms and the hemichordates. Garstang and De Beer proposed the neotenuous larva theory, suggesting that probably the auricularia larva of echinoderms became sexually mature, and later this neotenic larva gave rise to the chordate. The descendant of chordata from the echinodermata by the direct transformation of any echinoderm or its neotenous larva into the chordate is no longer accepted nowadays. The view most widely accepted at present is that the living echinoderms and the living chordate had in the common an immediate ancestor. Second is the hemichordate ancestry. There is a strong suggestive evidence that the early evolutionary stage of Deuterostomes group are the sessile or sedentary. The pharynx perforated by the gill slits, a characteristic feature of the chordate, is also a likely adaptation to sedentary habit. No doubt, hemichordate are the sedentary and have the pharyngeal gill slits and a hollow dorsal nerve cord, but the presence of a true notochord is doubtful, and their adult body plan is quite different from the vertebrate. Therefore, the prospect of some hemichordate as a likely ancestor of vertebrate seems to be impossible, so that they are put under a separate phylum of their own. Third ancestry is the Urochordate ancestry. The Urochordate or the Ascidian theory of vertebrate origin was advocated by the W. Garstang in 1928 and the latter elaborated by the N. J. Beryl in 1955, Romer 1959 and others. The adult tunicate or the Ascidian reflect the primitive sessile marine and filter feeding condition of the ancestral chordate. But their body plans are so divergent that it is impossible to imagine a direct evolutionary transformation of an adult Ascidian into the vertebrate. On the other hand, the Ascidian larvae are the tadpole-like, elongated, bilaterally symmetrical, and free-swimming creature with the pharyngeal gill slit, notochord, dorsal hollow nerve tube, and a muscular postanal tail. They represent the only slightly modified living caricature of the ancestral chordate that gave rise to the vertebrate line of evolution. According to this theory, certain of these larvae failed to metamorphose into the adult but become the neotenous, that is the sexually mature, by developing the gonads precursely and later evolved into the cephalochordate and the vertebrate. The sessile nature of life of the primitive chordate ancestor, pteriobranch, hemichordates and primitive echinoderms by the worker is considered resulting from the common ancestry. However, the Ascidian theory of chordate origin does not seem to be perfect. The principal drawback is that the theory considers the sessile urochordate to be ancestral to the chordate, whereas they are highly specialized because sessality is a specialized condition wherever it occurs in the animal kingdom. And also the figure we see, that is the similarity of larvae of echinoderms and hemichordates, and lays support to the idea of both from common ancestor. In this also the second figure we see the diagrammatic representation of chordate evolution based on the hypothesis of Beryl and Warrington. In this also we see that is the primitive vertebrate free-swimming larva, they to form the cephalochordate, urochordate, hemichordate, Ascidian, proto-Ascidian, protobranches, Protognathes, primitive echinoderm, that is also the diagrammatic representation of the chordate evolution based on the hypothesis of Beryl and Warrington. Fourth ancestry is the cephalochordate ancestry. The cephalochordate, particularly the lanceolate, it is also called the Branchiostoma lanceolate, as an interesting group of animals. They possess the three basic chordate features in the diagrammatic form. According to the Goldberg, the living amphioxus or the branchiostoma answer the logical structure of the model prevertebrate. Homer Smith reconstruction of the hypothetical protovertebrate in his book From Fish to the Philosopher in 1953 also the greatly resembles amphioxus but the excretory system of the cephalochordate consisting of phlegm cell called solenocytes is altogether different from that of the vertebrate. The solenocytes are the ectodermals and therefore not homologous with the mesodermal vertebrate kidney. Further, lack of the strong cephalization and sense organ and the unique forward extension of notochord indicate that the cephalochordates may hint about the likely ancestral body plan of vertebrates, but they are not themselves ancestral. Both may represent the divergent path of evolution from a common remote ancestor. And the last hypothesis, they to form the Barrington scientist. Barrington's hypothesis, the most plausible hypothesis by E.J.W. Barrington in 1965 is based on the deuterostome of line of chordate evolution. The common Echinoderm's chordate ancestor was in all probability a small sessile or semi-sessile or arm-feeding creature. It fed by the ciliary method by trapping the food particles in all probably a small sessile or semi-sessile lophophorate or arm-feeding creatures. It feed by the ciliary method by trapping food particles in a set of weighing tentacles. From this ancestral stock were derived early stalked echinoderms and pogonophores. The next logical step was the derivation of the sessile feeder or the stem chordate. The cucumber some external tentacles were replaced by an internal filtering apparatus in which food is entrapted inside the pharynx, which developed the external gill slits and mucus secreting endostyle cephalodiscus, a living pteriobranch hemichordate showing the transitional stage between the two modes of feeding because it has a single pair of gill slit beside the crown of tentacles. Pharygotremy, that is a perforated pharynx with the internal food trapping mechanism, resulted in the evolution of free living hemichordates on one hand and the sessile ancestral urochordates on the other. Some ancestral tunicate instead of producing the ciliate larvae common to the earliest group formed tadpole larva with all the typical somatic features of the chordate. According to the Garstang, the larva became elongated and increased in the size of longitudinal ciliary band shifted mid-dorsally and changed to the hollow nerve cord. The odoral cilia developed into the endostyle and muscle fiber evolved in the tail. This typical chordate larva has by pediogenesis supported the sessile adult stage, developed the gonads precursely and became the ancestor of cephalochordate. The branchiostoma, vertebrates and larvaceans probably representing the three cases of the parallel evolution. Yes, in the student, in this period we see the ancestry of the chordate. We see that is the ancestry as related to invertebrate animals, that is the urochordate to ancestry, hemichordate ancestry, echinodermate ancestry, and the different scientists give the different hypotheses as related by the ancestry of vertebrate. Next period we see the next. Goodbye the student.